Hi, welcome to this Q&A where we discuss the state of the union and whether we should stay or leave. I take the rhetoric of Trump and Miller and the people, Vance and the others around him very seriously. I don't think they're joking. We have already seen them make moves, for instance, against law firms that defended or had clients that were hostile or challenged the Trump administration. We have seen an assault on universities and, of course, an assault on the media. I guess Jimmy Kimmel is going to go back on the air, but I'm almost certain he isn't going to say anything anymore about Trump. We have seen people who have legal status in this country seized by masked goons in ICE. And I think since the assassination of Charlie Kirk, who was almost instantly turned into a martyr for the movement, this has turbocharged this assault on the so-called radical left. The radical left is a fairly marginal, insignificant force in the United States. But by the radical left, Trump, of course, means, George Soros, anyone, Adam Schiff, anyone in the Democratic Party. It's an absurd kind of characterization of their political stance. But basically anybody who is not obsequious and bows before the whims and the narcissism of Trump himself. When we saw Code Pink, and I just did an interview with Medea Benjamin, one of the co-founders of Code Pink, when we saw our members of Code Pink shout out or challenge Trump and his cabinet when they were in a DC restaurant. Trump talked about RICO laws. And of course, Miller is talking about the assassination of Kirk as part of an organizational assault. So there's a lot, not just in terms of things that have been said, but things that have been done that make our situation extremely precarious. Of course, I've reported from all sorts of authoritarian regimes around the world. For someone like me, the question is whether I have a voice or I don't. I mean, I'm hit with algorithms and deplatformed, and of course I've been pushed out of the mainstream media. People like Glenn Greenwald, Matt Taibbi, myself were all part of the mainstream media a decade ago. Doesn't exist anymore. And as long as I have a voice, of course, I feel a responsibility to use it, like many people, especially people who have fought the Israel lobby for many, many, many years and been a target of that lobby. The unleashing of that lobby, which we've seen on campuses, the attacks against critics, the deplatforming, the faculty members like Catherine Franke from Columbia Law School who lost their positions for speaking out on behalf of the student protesters. I have to assume I'm somewhere there. If this process continues the way Trump and those around him want it to continue, then any voice of dissent will essentially be shut down and silenced. At that point, of course, I lived 20 years outside the United States. If I have no voice at all, then having seen this happen in other countries where dissidents have had their voices completely silenced, at that point, you really have to leave because they will wait a few months and then they'll come take you away. After there's already within the media or milieu that you've already been silenced, you've already been disappeared. So they disappear your voice first, and then they disappear you physically. I don't know what I'm going to do, but of course it's something that I consider.